Tonight is the grand final of Mastermind 2004. In the past few months, 96 people have taken this short walk across to the most terrifying chair in the business. Only 24 of them got through to the semi-finals, and tonight, just 6 of them are here. Only one will walk away with the title Mastermind 2004. The first finalist in the spotlight tonight is Jim Cook from Starport-on-Severn, a factory worker. His specialist subject is American presidents of the 20th century. Second, Shaun Wallace from Wembley, a barrister and lecturer. His is FA Cup final since 1970. Third, John Tweddle from Middlesbrough, a job seeker, and his subject is Homer's Iliad. Fourth, Michael Kane from Stainton, a retired chemist, whose subject is British pop music of the 1960s. Fifth, Don Young from Shaw in Lancashire, a retired teacher, and his subject, the life and reign of Queen Elizabeth I. And the sixth finalist tonight, Brent Peeling from Billericay, a financial analyst. His specialist subject is English Test cricket since 1877. I'm John Humphreys and welcome to the grand final of Mastermind 2004. Each of our finalists will be in the hot seat for the third time tonight, as I say, and as always the rules are the same. 2 minutes on their specialist subject and 2 minutes on general knowledge. Tonight's winner will take home the big prize, this splendid glass bowl, and much more importantly, the title of Mastermind 2004. So let's have our first finalist, please. And your name is?
Jim Cook.
And your occupation?
Factory worker.
And your chosen subjects last time were American manned spaceflight and British Prime Ministers of the 20th century. Your subject tonight?
American presidents of the 20th century. I work at a firm that make climbing frames and swings for children. You do have to concentrate on this job. It's not quite as simple as it seems. But yes, there is a contrast between this. After a long day, it can be sometimes quite a relief to get home to sit and read and do my preparation for Mastermind. The American presidency has sort of always interested me. It's in many ways it's the most unique position in the world in that it combines both the head of state and the head of government. Sulgrave Manor is the ancestral home of George Washington's family, and it's only about an hour from where I live. And of course, going somewhere like that is like a breath of fresh air and brings a whole new perspective onto the subject. George Washington was the first holder of what in the 20th century became the most important political office in the world. Sulgrave Manor shows that the American presidency has its roots in England. You always feel the other competitors know more than you. They've obviously got to be very good to have got through to the final stage. I think it will be quite a fight.
So, 2 minutes on American presidents of the 20th century, starting now. Which president promised in his acceptance speech to make the United States a kinder and gentler nation?
Hoover.
George Bush Sr. Under the terms of which amendment to the American Constitution was Gerald Ford appointed to serve as Vice President in 1973?
20th?
25th. During whose presidency were both the Department of Energy and a separate Department of Education created?
Carter. Correct.
Only John F. Kennedy and which other 20th century president lie buried at Arlington National Cemetery?
Pass.
Which 23-room mansion on Long Island, now a National Historic Site, did Theodore Roosevelt use as his summer White House during his presidency?
Pass.
Which former American president lived for 32 years after leaving the White House, longer than any other president so far?
Hoover.
Correct. Which president used the campaign slogan, less government in business and more business in government?
Nixon.
Warren Harding. Two people tried to assassinate President Ford in California during September 1975. Lynette Fromm was one. Who was the other?
Squeaky Froman.
Sarah Jane Moore. Into which state capital did Dwight Eisenhower send troops in 1957 to enforce the desegregation of schools in compliance with the orders of a federal court?
Little Rock.
Yes. How many articles of impeachment against President Clinton were put before the Senate in 1999?
4.
2. Which future American president married Elizabeth Wallace and opened a store in Kansas City after returning from service in the First World War?
Truman.
Yes. Herbert Hoover and which other 20th century American president were born into Quaker households?
Nixon.
Yes. What title did Lyndon Johnson give to his domestic legislative programme after he was elected president in his own right?
The Great Society.
Correct. Which president was initially sworn into office by his father, a notary public, using the family Bible?
Calvin Coolidge.
Correct. Which controversial body, created by Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933 as part of his New Deal, built dams and generated cheap hydroelectric power?
Tennessee Valley Authority.
Correct. What was the name of the proposals for ending the First World War that Woodrow Wilson took before Congress on the 8th of January 1918?
14 points.
Correct. Who was Clinton's initial Secretary of State and was replaced by... Started so I shall finish. And was replaced by Madeleine Albright in 1997?
Brent Scowcroft.
No, it was Warren Christopher. You had 2 passes there. The mansion on Long Island that Teddy Roosevelt used was Sagamore Hill. And it was William Howard Taft who was the other president at Arlington National Cemetery. You had those 2 passes, Jim Cook. You have 9 points. And our second finalist, please. And your name is?
Shaun Wallace.
Your occupation?
Barrister and part-time lecturer.
Your previous 2 subjects have been the history of the Champions League and England football teams in the European Championships. Your subject tonight is?
FA Cup finals since 1970. I've been a criminal barrister for the past 20 or so years. Obviously, in court, as long as you're prepared, you're put on the spot and you've got to actually present your arguments on behalf of the client. And it's the same pressurised situation when you're invited into the black chair. Having lived in Wembley for the last 40 years, having seen some magnificent matches being played in that stadium, that's what's inspired me to actually choose football as a specialist subject on Mastermind. When I do my revision, you know, looking through the various papers and looking through the old books, it actually, you know, reignites the actual game, you know, live as I'm actually reading it. And, you know, oh yeah, I remember that. I like to actually get out with the children, you know, playing football and, you know, basically trying to actually develop their skills, you know, with the little knowledge I have thus far.
Well played, Kashaka.
You know, it's a welcome release from the pressures of Mastermind and also from court, and it's really good to actually try and give something back.
Good goal.
The worst thing that can happen, I suppose, is if I don't win. Just beforehand, you know, you get the, you know, the butterflies in your stomach. It's just like being in a tunnel, you know, waiting to walk out in the cup final, really. But, you know, once you've run on the pitch, you know, just like sitting in the black chair, you know, you just got to focus on the job at hand.
FA Cup finals in 2 minutes, starting now. Who was the last English-born manager to win the FA Cup?
Joe Royle.
Correct. Which Brighton fanzine's title reflects a miss near the end of the 1983 final when Brighton were drawing 2-2 with Manchester United?
And Smith must score.
Yes, correct. Who finished on the losing side in 4 FA Cup finals between 1985 and 92?
Paul Bracewell.
It was. Whose pass did Ricky Villela pick up at the edge of the penalty area before weaving his way through the Manchester City defence to score Spurs winner in the 81 replay?
Tony Galvin.
Correct. In 1973, after parrying Trevor Cherry's point-blank header, whose close-range follow-up did Jim Montgomery famously manage to save?
Peter Lorimer.
It was. With what were the players of the Sunderland team mistakenly presented after losing 2-0 in the 1992 Cup final?
The League Cup.
The winners' medals. What is the FA's official timing of Roberto Di Matteo's opening goal of the 1997 final, the fastest in a Wembley FA Cup final?
42 seconds.
42 seconds. Ipswich Town's Roger Osborne is said to have explained his 79th minute substitution in the 1978 final by saying that he was overcome by excitement at having done what?
Scored a winning goal.
Yes. Which year's final was played using an orange ball?
The 73 3 final.
Yes, in the 1977 and 83 finals, who played in both losing teams when the winners were Manchester United?
Jimmy Case.
Yes, whom did Ian Wright replace when he came off the bench to score 2 goals in the 1990 final?
Andy Gray.
Phil Barber. Paul Gascoigne was carried off after less than 15 minutes of the 1991 final after his lunging tackle on whom?
Gary Charles.
Yes. Who scored Manchester United's equalised in the 88th minute of the 1979 final, only for Alan Sunderland to make it 3-2 to Arsenal in the final minute?
McElroy.
Correct. Whose cross was deflected past Ray Clemence by Gary Mabbutt to give Coventry City an extra-time winner in the 87 final?
Lloyd McGrath.
Lloyd McGrath. What first name and surname is shared by a player who appeared in the 83 and 87 finals and one who appeared in the 84, 85 and 86 finals? And you have time to answer that question, but not too much.
Johnson.
Gary Stevens. You had no passes, Shaun Wallace. You have scored 12 points. And our third finalist, please. And your name is?
John Tweddle.
Your occupation?
Job seeker.
Your subjects in the previous rounds were World Heavyweight Boxing Championships and American presidential elections. Your subject tonight is?
Homer's Iliad. It was a challenge getting on the show, and I'm quite amazed that I've got this far. The Iliad and the Odyssey were fads when I was 10 years old. It's an interest I've picked up on again when I've needed to choose a subject. Studying is a very lonely process. It's rather like the loneliness of a long-distance runner. I'm using the computer to look at aspects of the Iliad on the net. If it's one I can't remember all the time, I tend to write it in very big letters. I'll put it on font 36 and then copy it and loudly screaming at you. The very old city of Durham puts you into a contemplative mood. It's got a very ancient university with a very well-known classics department. It is very inspirational and certainly gives sustenance to my desire to learn more about the Iliad. So I derive a lot of enjoyment from looking at old books because different books give the story from a different perspective and a different angle. It's a privilege to compete against people of such high calibre. At the end, if you are lucky enough to win, it's a case of being first among equals rather than being the winner.
Homer's Iliad in 2 minutes, starting now. By what other name does Homer regularly refer to Paris throughout much of the Iliad?
Alexander.
Correct. Who was the first Trojan to strike Patroclus with his spear after Apollo broke his weapons and armour?
Euphorbus.
Yes. Which of the Greek leaders is often referred to by the unexplained title of the Geranean horseman?
Nestor.
Correct. Chrysos, whom Diomedes slew with the help of Odysseus during their nocturnal expedition, was the leader of which people?
The Thracians.
Correct. What prize did the ill-favoured Trojan spy Dolon ask Hector to give him as a reward for penetrating the camp of the Greeks and listening to their deliberations?
Pass.
From which district on the southern coast of Asia Minor did Sarpedon and Glaucus come to fight for the Trojans?
Glacia.
Lycia. Which fierce beast was set upon the city of Calydon in the story that Phoenix tells to try to persuade Achilles to accept Agamemnon's peace offerings and return to the battlefield?
The boar.
Yes, a wild boar. From which peak on Mount Ida did Zeus direct the battle in favour of the Trojans until Hera and Hypnos, the god of sleep, conspired to distract him?
Pass.
Which god put an end to the battle between Achilles and the river Scamander by kindling a fire out of corpses?
Hephaestus.
Yes. Which abusive commoner chose to criticise Agamemnon before the council of the Greeks and was brutally silenced by his enemy Odysseus?
Thersites.
Correct. Which of Achilles' horses foretells his master's destiny to be killed at Troy until the Furies intervene and silence him?
Xanthos.
It was. Who was the principal soothsayer among the Greeks who annoyed Agamemnon by counselling him to return Chryseis to her father?
Calchas.
Correct. Which queen was the subject of the story that Achilles told Priam in order to remind him that he must eat despite the death of his son?
Neba.
Niobe, yes. Which small, boastful commander of the Locrians brought 40 ships to Troy?
Pass.
On which island did Hephaestus say that he landed after Zeus once threw him out of Olympus for attempting to defend his mother Hera?
Skyros.
Lemnos. Before which gates did Hector wait for his final battle with Achilles?
Skian Gate.
Correct. And I did not start the next question. You had 3 passes there. The boastful commander was Ajax. The peak that we wanted was Gargarus. And the prize was the chariot and horses of Achilles. 3 passes, John Tweddle, 11 points. And our 4th finalist, please. And your name is?
Michael Kane,
Your occupation?
retired chemist.
Your previous subjects have been Buddy Holly and King Charles II. Tonight's subject is?
British pop music of the 1960s. I've always been interested in 60s pop music. I was actually a teenager in the 60s, believe it or not. I avidly bought 45s and read all the pop newspapers and magazines. I also attended lots of live concerts. I saw the Beatles live, generally sort of soaked up the scene. My going back and looking at what was actually in the charts in those days, it's very nostalgic really. I met my wife in the 60s. We met at a local dance hall in Sheffield, had a jive together. You sort of compare certain records to certain events in your life, I suppose.
I think Mike's quietly confident. I suppose really, if I'm honest, I suppose I'm more nervous than what he is.
There's an old record shop in Ulverston called the Music Room. He sells retro records, 60s pop music, etc. By sort of thumbing through the records, it takes you back in time and helps you in research. Oh, the zombies. You don't see them very frequently. There could even be a Mastermind question on that. The secret of doing well on Mastermind is to concentrate. You can't let your mind wander for a minute, so you've got to focus that concentration, really.
2 minutes on pop music of the 1960s, starting now. Which song that gave Matt Monro a number 5 hit in 1961 was a minor hit for Frank Sinatra and Count Basie and his orchestra in 1963?
Pass.
Robert Fripp, Greg Lake and Ian MacDonald were among the original lineup of which group founded in 1969?
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
King Crimson. Under what stage name did Jerry Samuels have his only UK hit in 1966 with They're Coming to Take Me Away, haha?
Napoleon the 14th.
Correct. Which 1963 hit for Cliff Richard was based on a melody written by Charles Dawes in 1912 before he became the American Vice President?
It's all in the game.
Yes, the Paramounts, who backed Sandy Shaw on a concert tour in 1965, reformed under what name supposedly taken from a pedigree cat's birth certificate?
Pass.
On which record label were The Who's first 3 top 10 singles, including My Generation, released?
Polydor.
Brunswick. Which rock star saw a picture of the American singer Slim Whitman playing the guitar left-handed, which made him realise he could do the same?
Paul McCartney.
Yes, session singer Ron Dante appeared with 2 different groups in the same UK top 10 in December '69. The Archies was one, which was the other?
1910 Fruitcomb
The
Company.
Cufflinks. Keith West, who had a hit in '67 with excerpt from a teenage opera, was the vocalist with which group at the time?
Pass.
The opening words of which '65 Bob Dylan track are "You got a lot of nerve to say you are my friend"?
Times are changing.
Positively 4th Street. Which band formed in '61 consisted of Alan Caddy, George Bellamy, Roger Laverne, Heinz Burt and Clem Catini?
Tornadoes.
Correct. On which label all of Jerry and the Pacemakers hits released between '63 and '65?
EMI.
Columbia. Which singer who first entered the chart in '61 with Marquita was born Angus Mackenzie in Glasgow in 1931?
Carl Denver.
Yes. Who cashed in on Beatlemania in Christmas '63 with the song All I Want for Christmas Is a Beatle?
Dora Bryan.
Yes. Which group named after a Bo Diddley song had a top 20 hit in '64 with Don't Bring Me Down?
Pretty Things.
Pretty Things it was, and that is the buzzer. You had 3 passes. Keith West was a vocalist with Tomorrow. Procol Harum was the name that came from the pedigree cat's birth certificate, bizarrely enough. And the song that gave Matt Monro that minor hit was My Kind of Girl. 3 passes, Michael Kane, 7 points. And our 5th finalist, please. And your name is?
Don Young,
Occupation?
retired teacher.
Previous subjects have been Homer's Odyssey and King Ludwig II of Bavaria. Tonight you are choosing?
The life and reign of Queen Elizabeth I. I've chosen Elizabeth I as my specialist subject because, despite the fact I'm a linguist by training, I've always enjoyed history, and Elizabeth is one of the great icons of the Tudor period, if not the greatest icon of the Tudor period. I've read each book, underlined salient points. One way which works for me is to read through the index of the book and say, what did he do? What did she do? Why is that important? I feel the more I read about Elizabeth, the more I seem to know, but the more I realise I don't know. I've actually gave myself a day off from my revision to visit Hatfield House, which was the childhood nursery and home of Elizabeth I, and it was there that she learnt she'd become Queen. Looking at the pictures of various people associated with Elizabeth and of Elizabeth herself reminds me of many incidents of her life. As such, that is excellent preparation for the final of Mastermind. I would say I saved Elizabeth till last because she's more challenging, and the final has to be a challenge. In my life, since my teens, I've been one of life's natural runners-up. Always close, but no cigar. So this, if I win, it would make a very pleasant change.
2 minutes on Elizabeth I, starting now. Who was engaged as Elizabeth's tutor after his former pupil William Grindal died from the plague?
Roger Ascham.
Correct. Which wardrobe man of the Duc d'Alençon became a favourite of Elizabeth's in 1579 while trying to arrange a marriage contract with her on behalf of his master?
Simier.
Correct. Which date did the astrologer John Dee select as particularly propitious for Elizabeth's coronation?
The 15th of January.
It was. What pseudonym was adopted by the anonymous author of a series of satirical pamphlets published in 1588, principally opposing the office of bishop and the Elizabethan religious settlement?
Martin Marprelate.
It was. Which Norfolk squire was Elizabeth's custodian at the Tower of London and later at Woodstock?
Henry Bedingfield.
Correct. When Elizabeth was christened by the Bishop of London, which leading churchman was among her godparents?
Cranmer.
Yes. Which English poet wrote many of the entertainments performed at Kenilworth Castle and played the part of Sylvanus, god of the woods, during Elizabeth's celebrated visit in 1575?
Gascoigne.
Correct. In July 1560, by which treaty that Mary Queen of Scots refused to ratify, did the French agree to withdraw their troops in Scotland and recognise Elizabeth's right to rule England?
Edinburgh.
Correct. Which disease did Elizabeth catch in 1562, later making a complete recovery?
Smallpox.
It was. Which ship did Elizabeth purchase from Sir Walter Raleigh in 1587, subsequently renaming it?
The Ark Royal Raleigh, as it was at the
Correct.
time.
Which of her favourites did Elizabeth make Lord Chancellor in 1587, despite his lack of legal knowledge?
Hatton.
Correct. Which pope issued the bull Regnans in Excelsis that excommunicated Elizabeth in 1570?
Pius V.
Correct. In September 1578, without Elizabeth's knowledge, the Earl of Leicester married which countess whose husband had died of dysentery?
Countess of Essex.
Correct. What was the title of the French poem translated by the young Elizabeth as a gift for Catherine Parr for New Year 1545?
The Mirror of the Sinful Soul.
Correct. Which spy arrested by Walsingham's men in November 1583 was executed after confessing that the Duke of Guise was planning an invasion to install Mary as Queen of England?
Babington.
No. Your very last one you got wrong. Every previous one had been right. It was Francis Throckmorton. You had no passes. You have, though, 14 points.
Thank you.
And our sixth finalist, please. And your name is?
Brent Peeling,
Your occupation?
financial analyst.
Your previous subjects were Essex County Cricket Club and the Zulu War of 1879. Your chosen subject tonight?
English Test cricket since 1877. Cricket's one of my great passions, and it's nice to be able to come down here and actually see it live now and again. Sometimes I bring a book down with me. There's usually times when there's not a lot happening. There's plenty of chances to read while I'm here. took Essex County Cricket in the first round, which was part of cricket I'm quite interested in. It just felt another step on from that to take English Test cricket in the final as a sort of another level up from county cricket. It was my wife Bev who really encouraged me to apply. She thought I could do okay, and she encouraged me to get hold of a form and gave me all the support I needed for it.
When Brent won the semi, I was just really shocked. We didn't think he'd sort of get that far. And if he won the final, well, I don't know, I think I'd probably just burst into tears, and I'm so proud of him. When he's in the black chair, it's terrifying, because you don't know if he knows the answers. It's just really nerve-wracking.
Definite mastermind in the making.
Thank you.
The waiting's the worst bit. I just feel I want to get in the chair and get on with it. I feel it's more a challenge for me to see how I do and how I handle being on Mastermind and taking part in it, rather than being directly in competition with anyone else.
English Test cricket in 2 minutes, starting now. Who bowled the first ball in Test cricket at Charles Bannerman in Melbourne in 1877?
Alan Hill.
Alfred Shaw. Who was the last Australian batsman to be dismissed by Bob Willis to give England victory in the 1981 Headingley Test?
Ray Bright.
Yes. Who was the only England player to make his Test debut during the 2003-4 series in the West Indies?
Martin Saggers.
Geraint Jones. In 1990, on which ground did Kapil Dev hit Eddie Hemmings for 4 consecutive sixes to ensure India avoided the follow-on?
Lords.
Yes. Which England player scored a triple hundred in his last Test in Kingston in 1930?
Andy Sandham.
Correct. In which year was the triangular Test series between England, Australia and South Africa played in England?
1912.
Correct. In total, how many consecutive Test defeats did England suffer against Australia on the 1920-21 tour and at home in 1921?
8.
Yes. Who captained England in Sri Lanka's inaugural Test in 1982, the last of his 7 matches as captain?
Keith Fletcher.
Correct. In 1998, which South African batsman became Andrew Flintoff's first Test victim?
Hansi Cronje.
Callis. When Jim Laker took 19 wickets at Old Trafford in '56, which Sussex player took 5 catches?
Alan Oakman.
Yes. With which team did England draw at the Oval in the last Test played before the Second World War?
The West Indies.
Correct. What was the result of the 77 centenary Test in Melbourne that coincidentally was exactly the same as that of the inaugural Test of 1877?
Australia won by 45 runs.
Yes. Who was at the striker's end when Colin Cowdrey came out to bat with a broken arm as England lost their 9th wicket with 2 balls left at Lords in 1963?
David Allen.
Yes. Which bowler who played 11 Tests for England during the 1990s took 6 for 67 on his debut against Australia?
Pass.
Who, after a rain-affected match at Old Trafford in 1924, remains the only Test player never to have batted, bowled or taken a catch?
McMaster.
John McBrien. Following the failure of the triangular tournament in 1912, the idea of having 2 touring sides was not tried again until '65, when New Zealand and which other country were the visitors?
South Africa.
Correct. Whose career Test batting average was only 8 before he scored 219 at Durban in the timeless Test of 1938? Finish the question, 38-39.
Bill Edrich.
It was indeed Bill Edrich. You had 1 pass there. The bowler who played 11 Tests was Peter Such. 1 pass. Brent Peeling, you have 12 points. Brings us to the end of the specialist subject in our final. So let's have a look at the scores. In 6th place with 7 points is Michael Kane. In 5th place with 9 points, Jim Cook. In 4th place with 11 points, John Tweddle. 3rd place with 12 points and 1 pass, Brent Peeling. 2nd place with 12 points and no passes, Shaun Wallace. In the lead, only just with 14 points, Don Young. Before we move on to the general knowledge round and a step closer to finding out who will walk away as Mastermind 2004 tonight, here's a chance to see how Mastermind has evolved since it began 32 years ago when the first final was held at the North East London Polytechnic. Where else? That night, 3 women competed for the title.
Mastermind began in 1972, hidden away in a late-night slot. Shows were recorded in the academic institutions that provided most of its contestants.
Hello and welcome to the final of Mastermind. Here are 3 finalists in an all-woman final. Prepare to make their crucial effort.
University lecturer Nancy Wilkinson was the first winner. The following year there was another victory for Women's Lib. When a new sitcom was deemed too sexist, Mastermind took its primetime slot and replaced busts with brains.
Legends of Britain, the geography of Spain,
British ornithology.
Byzantine art.
Cuba since the 19th century.
Audiences tuned in their millions as the contestants' highbrow knowledge proved strangely compelling.
Quota Acts were passed in 1921 and 24 to limit immigration into which country?
USA.
Correct. What is meant by the term hodigetria?
She who indicates the way.
Correct. Which is the most notable rice-growing area of Spain?
The Huerta of Valencia.
Correct. What is a silkie?
It's a small creature that runs around the house.
No, it's part seal, part man.
The show began to seep into the national consciousness and everyone wanted to sit in that black chair. But sometimes you wondered how comfortable it really was.
What British bird has the most feathers?
Pass.
Where did David Lack do his classic field study of the robin?
Pass.
Where was the first British bird observatory established?
Pass.
What is a first schedule bird?
One which may not be, which may be shot or trapped any time of the year by authorised persons.
No. It descends from Landi Kotal through Shinwaki territory to Landi Kana. It is the most important route from Afghanistan into Pakistan. It's the Khyber what?
Pass.
The Khyber Pass, correct. Mr. Malcolm, you are Mastermind 1974.
In the 80s, the show began to lose its elitist image. Even people like me could sit in the chair.
Your name, please?
Fred Housego.
Occupation?
Licensed taxi driver.
London Underground train driver. Hospital driver.
Milkman. Mr. Housego, you have scored 33 points.
Some of us even won. When the BBC ended the show, Magnus's final tribute was to repeat the very first question he'd asked 25 years before.
During the Spanish Civil War, which town in the Basque Country was destroyed by German bombers, an event which was commemorated in a painting by Picasso?
Guernica.
Guernica is correct. So that's it. I've started. Now I've finished. Bye-bye.
Quiz shows that took its place were all about money. It was thought Mastermind and its crystal bowl was history.
Can we get to our Mastermind, Sybil? Next contestant, Sybil 40 from Torquay, special subject, the bleeding obvious.
You have chosen to answer the question before last each time, is that correct?
Charlie Smithers.
What do people kneel on in church?
The Right Reverend Robert Runcie.
The show is rooted deep in our popular culture. We weren't ready to let go.
I've started, so I'll finish.
Mastermind returned for a one-off celebrity special.
What mishap delayed the execution of Captain Kidd at Wapping in 1701? You may answer.
The tide was too high.
It proved a big success. Mastermind was back.
Good evening and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphreys. I'm new, but the rules are the same. No one wins $1 million, but this, some say, is worth even more.
Another thing that hasn't changed. You're not going to win it like this.
Pass. Pass. Oh, God, I ought to know that. Pass. Pass. Oh, I'm losing this completely. Pass. Do you know, I do know it. Pass.
Of course.
Now this is more like it.
Your score has risen to a record 41 points and no passes. Thank you very much.
That's not a bad score to aim for. Enormous one. So on to round 2 now of this final and our general knowledge round. Remember, if there is a tie at the end of this round, then the number of passes will be taken into account and the finalist with the fewest passes will be declared the winner. If there's still a tie on points, then there will be a 5-question playoff. So let's get on with the general knowledge round and let me first ask Michael Kane to join us again, please. With your British pop music. And not many questions about the Beatles. I think that's the only... It's not quite the only group I can remember from the 60s, but it was the group, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the group, yeah.
Did you ever go to a Beatles concert?
Yes, I actually saw the Beatles live in Sheffield in 1963.
I noticed you say you saw them. You didn't say you heard them.
I didn't actually hear them because of this, because of the screaming.
Really? You couldn't? You quite literally couldn't hear them?
Couldn't hear a word at all. No. All you could hear is John Lennon shouting, "Shut up!" every so often.
And they didn't.
But of course they didn't, so we never heard anything at all, really.
Right, you got 7 points with your pop music. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. 2 minutes, starting now. Who was the Secretary of State for Energy before being promoted to Chancellor of the Exchequer in 1983?
Lawson.
Yes. In which of the Gulf states is the television channel Al Jazeera based?
Dubai.
Qatar. The name of which period of Western European music, architecture and art that lasted from about 1600 to 1750 is thought to derive from the Portuguese for a misshapen pearl?
Pass.
The class of arthropods, hexapoda, are more commonly known as what?
Pass.
Which fictional detective inspector was created by the novelist R.D. Wingfield?
Morse? No.
Frost. Which elderly admiral was Nelson's commander at the Battle of Copenhagen in 1801?
Pass.
The Greek and Roman gods of sea, Poseidon and Neptune, were often depicted carrying a trident and riding on the back of which sea creature?
Pass.
In which Canadian province is Jasper National Park?
Quebec.
Alberta. Which type of panda is also known as the cat bear?
Giant panda.
The red panda or the common panda. The artist Canaletto, best known for his views of Venice, worked mainly in which city from 1746 until 1755?
London.
Yes. A well-known theme from Saint-Saëns' Organ Symphony was part of the theme music for which 1995 film based on a novel by Dick King-Smith?
Pass.
Which European country has been ruled by the Oldenburg dynasty since 1448?
Luxembourg.
Denmark. The name of which type of sauce is thought to originate from a Malay dialect word for a fermented fish sauce?
Pass.
Henry Vincent York was the real name of which novelist and industrialist, I've started so I shall finish, whose works included Blindness, Loving and Concluding?
Pass.
I can tell you because your time is up. It was Henry Green, and your other passes, the name of that sauce, it's ketchup as we know it today. The Saint-Saëns theme was for Babe. The Greek and Roman gods were carried on a dolphin. The elderly admiral was Admiral Hyde Parker. The arthropods, or hexapoda, are more commonly known as insects. And the name of that period of Western music is Baroque. So, with those 7 passes, Michael Kane, you have a total of 9 points.
Thank you.
And now Jim Cook, if he would please. And you scored 9 points with your knowledge of American presidents of the 20th century. A real mixed bunch, weren't they?
They are indeed, yes, yes. There's an old saying that anybody can be the President of the United States, and sometimes you think anybody usually is, yeah. Yes, they come from all walks of life, all levels of education, and Truman, I think, is my favourite. I think he's a rather unknown little man from Missouri, yet he ordered the atom bombing of Japan, sacked General MacArthur. When an assassin tried to break into Blair House where he was stopping because the White House was being refurbished, the Secret Service had to pull him off the assassin rather than the other way around. He was the sort of man you'd rather admire, I think. Yeah, yes, I think I've got a soft spot for him, yeah.
Well, you scored 9 points with your knowledge of American presidents. Let's see how you do with general knowledge, and the score to beat at the moment is 14 points. So, 2 minutes on general knowledge, starting now. Which novelist became the first writer to win the Booker Prize twice when Disgrace was voted the winner in 1999?
Salman Rushdie?
No, Coetzee. The bipolar and the field effect are the 2 major types of which element of an electronic circuit?
Magnetic.
Transistor. In golf, which trophy has been competed for by female teams from Europe and the United States since 1990?
The Solheim Cup.
Correct. For over 600 years, which birds have famously nested at the village of Abbotsbury in Dorset?
Storks.
Swans. Which European capital city's international airport is situated near the small town of Schwechat?
Pass.
Which 15th century Norfolk family wrote a collection of letters that provide a unique insight into how they felt about each other and their way of life?
Rogers.
Paston family. Whose birthday on July 24th is celebrated as a national holiday in Venezuela?
Simon Bolivar.
Correct. Which word for a substance that acts as a biological catalyst comes from the Greek for within yeast?
Pass.
Which Spanish artist created the ceramic wall decorations Mur du Soleil and Mur de la Lune for the UNESCO building in Paris in the 1950s?
Picasso.
Miro. Which composer's works were catalogued by Otto Erich Deutsch and are known by D numbers?
Wagner.
Schubert. In which form of transport was Clyde Cessna a pioneer?
Aircraft.
Yes, aviation. Peter the Great engaged which Danish explorer in 1724 to see if Asia and America were connected by land?
Bering.
Correct. In which film did Ingrid Bergman teach the young inhabitants of Liverpool's Chinatown to sing Knick-Knack Paddywhack as they tramped across North Wales?
Inn of the Six Happiness.
Yes. By what name is the fruit granadilla, which has a wrinkled skin when ripe and is full of tiny seeds, better known?
Pomegranate.
Passion fruit. Which desert has a name that means waterless place in Mongolian?
Gobi.
Correct. Plankton and which shrimp-like creature are the principal food sources of the baleen whale?
Krill.
Correct. In which UK city was a new concert hall called the Waterfront Hall, opened in January 1997?
Cardiff.
Belfast. In which branch of the Royal Marines was former Liberal Democrat Party leader Paddy Ashdown, I started so I shall finish, a commando?
The SBS.
The SBS it was, the Special Boat Squadron. You had 2 passes there. The word for that substance that acts as a catalyst is the enzyme, and it is Vienna, the European capital city we were looking for. So, 2 passes. You have a total, Jim Cook, of 17 points. And now John Tweddle, please. So, Homer's Iliad. What's the appeal of it?
Well, I mean, it was written in 3000 BC, I believe, or somewhere like that. I mean, I don't think they can quite fix the date.
That's before they had an alphabet.
Yeah.
An obvious next question, how did they write it?
Well, I think it was storytellers, basically. I mean, I think they used to sing a lot of the stories. They didn't have television then, so storytellers were the in thing.
Well, you did well with it. You got 11 points, so you have 17 points to beat at this stage in the game. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. 2 minutes. Which Prussian army officer gave his name to the plan of attack adopted by the German army at the outbreak of the First World War?
Ludendorff.
Schlieffen.
No.
Which common Latin phrase translates literally as good faith?
Bona fide.
Correct. What was the name of Australia's most celebrated racehorse? It won 37 out of 51 starts between 1929 and 1932.
Pass.
The principal ingredients of which American dish generally consist of maize and lima beans simmered together until tender?
Pass.
Which city was the capital of nationalist China from 1928 to 1937?
Shanghai.
Nanking. In the novel 1984, what name was given to the organ of party security which monitored party members for deviation from prescribed mental processes?
Big Brother.
The Thought Police. Oh. In which board game are 4 dice and a doubling cube used to control the movement of the counters?
Cribbage.
Backgammon. In opera, which island provides the setting for Bizet's The Pearl Fishers?
Pass.
In mathematics, what name is given to a quantity such as velocity or force which has both magnitude and direction?
Vector.
Yes. How is the prostitute Anna Coupeau known in the title of the 1880 novel by Émile Zola?
Pass.
Which city lies on the north bank of the River Plate estuary and is the most southerly capital in mainland South America?
Buenos Aires.
Montevideo. Which soul singer had a #1 hit in America in 1957 with You Send Me?
B.B. King.
Sam Cooke. Now known not to exist, what name was given to the major planet thought during the 19th century to orbit the Sun within the orbit of Mercury?
Vulcan.
Yes. Which British businessman was released from prison by the Russians in 1964 in exchange for the KGB spy master Gordon Lonsdale?
George Blake.
Greville Wynne. What is the most important of the androgens, or male sex hormones, in humans?
Testosterone.
Correct. What is the chemical formula of dry ice?
CH.
CO2. Which large island lying between Greenland and mainland Canada is named after a 17th century English navigator who was killed at the Siege of Ormuz?
Pass.
Published in 1992, The Ice House was the first novel by which crime writer?
Ruth Rendell.
Minette Walters. So, you have those 5 passes. The large island is Baffin Island. The prostitute was known as Nana. The opera was based in Ceylon, or Sri Lanka. The ingredients of that American dish make up succotash. And the name of Australia's most celebrated racehorse was Phar Lap. Phar Lap. So, 5 passes. John Tweddle, you have a total now of 15 points. And now Brent Peeling, if you would, please. You're pretty keen on your cricket, aren't you? You did Essex County Cricket Club in the first round, I think, didn't you? And now Test cricket. It's been going a long time.
Yes, 125 years, 27 years.
It was quite extraordinary that the score of the first Test was repeated in the Test 100 years later.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence. It's just the way it came out. It was played on the same ground and ended up in exactly the same result, which is quite coincidental, quite amazing at the time.
That is a really extraordinary coincidence,
yeah,
isn't it? I mean, to come up with exactly the same score. A greater power at work, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah.
Just trying to say to us, look, this is a boring game, and I'd better not go down that route. Well, we know what your score was. It was 12 points, and 17 is still the score to beat. So let's see how you do with your general knowledge. Which Latin phrase did the Queen use to describe the year 1992 in a speech at the Guildhall?
Annus Horribilis.
Correct. The first African-American to win the Nobel Prize for Literature was born Chloe Anthony Wofford. How is she better known?
Pass.
On which of the Japanese islands is the capital Tokyo situated?
Osaka.
Honshu, spanning more than 77 million years, which period of geological time is the longest of all the 11 Phanerozoic periods?
Cretaceous.
Correct. Who in 1985 became the first non-seeded player to win the Wimbledon men's singles title?
Boris Becker.
Correct. Which country formerly part of Yugoslavia is known as Hrvatska in its native tongue?
Croatia.
Yes. In which 1961 film did Paul Newman first play the pool shark Fast Eddie Felsen?
The Hustler.
Yes. Which river in northern France gives its name to one of the first and last battles of the First World War?
The Ain.
The Marne. Which city, known as Venta Belgarum by the Romans, was the capital of Wessex?
Dorchester.
Winchester. Which poem by W.H. Auden contains the lines, "Silence the pianos and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come"?
Funeral.
I'll need more.
Funeral rites.
Funeral blues. Saltfish and ackee is the national dish of which Caribbean country?
Jamaica.
Correct. In classical music, which Mussorgsky work was inspired by the Witches' Sabbath in Gogol's story St. John's Eve?
Night on the Bear Mountain.
Correct. Which member of the gull family is the most commonly found in Britain?
Herring gull.
Correct. Which is the only country to border the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf?
Iran.
Saudi Arabia. According to the Gospel of John, which disciple, later nicknamed Protokletos, was the first to be called by Jesus?
Luke.
Andrew. Which Henry James novel was made into a film in 2000 starring Uma Thurman and Nick Nolte?
Pass.
What name did James Hilton give to the idyllic Tibetan valley in his novel Lost Horizon?
Shangri-La.
Correct. Which country's singer, who died in October 97, reportedly offered $10 million to the Soviet Union to put him on the Mir space station?
Roy Orbison.
John Denver. And your time is up. So, you had 2 passes. The Henry James novel we were looking for was The Golden Bowl, and the first African-American to win the Nobel Prize for Literature was Toni Morrison. 2 passes, you have a total of 21 points. And now Shaun Wallace, please. So we move from cricket to football because that is very clearly your game. Both your previous subjects?
I like playing football, yes. It's a great game, actually. It's very hard to actually explain, but I've watched some, exciting matches over the years involving watching England win and lose, watching Chelsea win and lose, and sort of tearing my hair out because they're my favourite team.
What's the best FA Cup game there's ever been?
That's hard. I still think, for sheer excitement, you've got to go for the Chelsea win when they won the replay against Leeds. That was just like, I was 9 years old, and I was actually crying when we were losing with 1 minute to, it's about 9 minutes to go. And when Charlie Cook put that cross in and Osgood hit it, I broke the chair, actually. I was so happy. And when we won, and for the last 15 or so minutes, I mean, a bit more fingernails to the quick. It was just, for me, that was the best cup. It was really exciting.
And being a Chelsea supporter, you hardly stopped crying since?
No, not really. Not really. Not really.
Right. 12 points you scored with FA Cups. 21 is the score to beat. Let's see if you can do it with your general knowledge, starting now. By what name are the cathedrals at York and Southwell more commonly known?
Minsters.
Correct. Which band, fronted by the Liverpudlian Ian Brodie, took their name from a misheard line in a Prince song?
Lightning Seeds.
Yes. The name of which sea monster from the Book of Job was used by Thomas Hobbes for the title of his best-known work, first published in 1651?
The Leviathan.
Correct. Pak choi is a Chinese variety of which vegetable?
Pomegranate.
Cabbage. What name is given to a fluid's resistance to flow caused by internal friction?
Viscosity.
Yes. Nastasya Kinski played the title character in the screen version of which novel by Thomas Hardy?
Tessa de D'Urberville's.
Yes. In which Southeast Asian country is the Plain of Jars, which derives its name from the hundreds of ancient jars found there?
Thailand.
Laos. Which popular expression was supposedly first used by the San Antonian sports writer Dan Cook in June 78 and completes the line, "The opera ain't over"?
Till the fat lady sings.
Which American artist who lived from 1882 to 1967 used from 1924 onwards only one model, his wife Jo?
Roy Lichtenstein.
Edward Hopper. Which German composer disowned all his previous works after the first performance of Carmina Burana in 1937, though some were later revived?
Karl Orff.
Correct. What name is given to the technique where two plants, often of different species, are artificially induced to grow as one?
Grafting.
Correct. In classical mythology, what name was given to the horrific monsters with the face and trunk of a woman and the wings and claws of a bird?
Harpy.
Yes. The winner of which literary prize is presented with a £30,000 cheque and a bronze figure known as the Bessie?
The Whitbread.
The Orange. In 1704, who was put ashore at his own request on one of the uninhabited islands of Juan Fernandez after quarrelling with his captain?
Alexander Selkirk.
Correct. Which 2001 Nicole Kidman film set in the 1890s features songs written by David Bowie, Elton John and Sting?
Moulin Rouge.
Correct. Which motor manufacturing company was founded as the Swallow Sidecar Company in 1922?
Jaguar.
Yes. In which fantasy trilogy... Started so I shall finish. In which fantasy trilogy was Barlaam Butterbur the landlord of the Prancing Pony at Brie?
Complete guess, I'm going to say the Narnia.
Lord of the Rings. However, you've got enough to put you ahead. You have Shaun Wallace, no passes, a total of 24 points. Dawn Young, our final finalist, please. So, all to play for at this stage. And Queen Elizabeth I was what got you where you are, your 14 points. I mean, what is extraordinary is that we didn't exactly have the emancipation of women or a feminist movement in the 16th century, and yet she was hugely respected.
We certainly did not, but by the same token, it was becoming a slightly more of an enlightened age for the women of quality being better educated. But she made herself respected. She made herself respected because she stood up for what she thought was right.
What was her single greatest achievement?
Her single greatest achievement, holding a nation together and welding a nation together, which could have fragmented very much so after the reign of Mary. When Mary had reintroduced Catholicism, Elizabeth reintroduced what has become the Church of England. She held that together, and during her reign, England developed as a nation.
24 points is the score to beat at this final stage in the contest. So let's see how you do now with general knowledge. 2 minutes. From which country does the rice dish nasi goreng originate?
China.
Indonesia. In jazz, Jerry Mulligan was one of the foremost exponents of which member of the saxophone family?
Tenor.
Baritone. In computing, which letter is used to represent the decimal number 10 in the hexadecimal numerical system?
B.
A. Which boys' public school in South London was founded in 1619 by the actor Edward Allen?
Dulwich.
Correct. Which German-born caricaturist and social satirist became celebrated in the 1920s with The Face of the Ruling Class and Ecce Homo?
Pass.
By what name is the condition scrivener's palsy more commonly known?
Writer's cramp.
Correct. In the novel by Graham Greene, what was the occupation of Jim Wormold, recruited to be our man in Havana?
He was a reporter.
No, vacuum cleaner salesman. What name for a person who does not conform is taken from a Texas rancher who refused to brand his cattle?
Maverick.
Yes. Which company made the Second World War aircraft, the Flying Fortress and the Super Fortress?
Boeing.
Yes. About which of his own works did Umberto Eco report, "I desired to poison a monk" when asked about the story's genesis?
The Name of the Rose.
Correct. Sir Peter Mansfield and Paul Lauterbur jointly won the 2003 Nobel Prize for Medicine for developing the MRI scanner. For what does MRI stand?
Pass.
The Welsh town of Avenny is known by what name in English?
Abergavenny.
Correct. Which of the 12 apostles is, according to one tradition, thought to have died near Madras in the middle of the 1st century?
Andrew.
Thomas. Which dramatist's reputation was established when Every Man in His Humour was successfully presented by the Lord Chamberlain's Theatrical Company in 1598?
Johnson.
Yes. Of which sport is Walter Camp of Yale University considered to be the father?
Baseball.
American football. Which Mozart opera is based on the story Lulu, one of Wieland's collection of Oriental fairy tales?
The Magic Flute.
Correct. Which word for a pain in the muscles and joints of the lower back is derived from the Latin for loin?
Lumbago.
Correct. Which well-known revolutionary socialist hymn... I've started, so I shall finish. Which well-known revolutionary socialist hymn was the national anthem of the Soviet Union between 1921 and 1944?
The Internationale.
Indeed. You had 2 passes there. MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging, and it was the George Cross that was celebrated in the 1920s. You have scored, Don Young, with 2 passes, 24 points. So, at the end of that general knowledge round, a nail-biting end, let's look at the scores. In 6th place with 9 points, Michael Kane. In 5th place with 15 points, John Tweddle. In 4th place with 17 points, Jim Cook. In 3rd place with 21 points, Brent Peeling. In 2nd place with 24 points and 2 passes, Don Young, the winner of Mastermind 2004 with 24 points and no passes, Shaun Wallace. And to present the Mastermind 2004 trophy, the chairman of the BBC, Michael Grade. What a tight contest, eh? And what a great winner. Shaun, come and receive your trophy.
All yours. Hold it up. A very tight contest.
It was really close.
And you were, if I'm not mistaken, you had a little tear in your eye at the end.
I did.
What was that about?
It's just that, just sort of, living a dream and fulfilling a dream which I never thought I could actually ever fulfil. But it's real, and I'm really enjoying it. It's one of the happiest days of my life, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed Mastermind 2004 and that you'll join us again next year for Mastermind 2005. Good night.
To another challenge next here on BBC Two, creating perfect patisseries and cakes. It's semi-final time of the Great British Bake Off.